And then there were three. Eric Adams out of New York City's mayoral race in an effort to slim the field and increase the odds, if they're really still there, we'll talk about that, of beating communist Zohran Mamdani in November. He, meanwhile, is doubling down on his platform of Trump bad and free everything.
The Democrats' new darling, now pledging to spend $100 million taxpayer dollars to pick up the tab for the lawyers' fees of illegal aliens. President Trump says, sure, rack it up. Good luck, bucko. Writing on Truth Social today, remember, he needs the money from me as president in order to fulfill all of his fake communist promises. He won't be getting any of it. So what's the point of voting for him? The golden boy didn't like that.
I think that Donald Trump is going through the stages of grief. He began with denial, where he said that there was no way we could win this race and that he would use every tool at his disposal to ensure that that was the case.
Joining us on set, Maslansky Partners President Lee Carter and National Review staff writer Caroline Downey. Lee, I know I'm going to go to Caroline since, with great respect, she's more in his age bracket, Mandani's.
Regrettably.
He thinks he's quite clever, but this is kind of a little glimpse into what he's going to do, is spending taxpayer money on illegal aliens to pay for their legal fees. I mean,
the Trump
an abomination.
Yes, yeah, absolutely it is. And the Trump administration cooperated with the Eric Adams administration on illegal immigration and a few other things because he felt like it was in the interest of both the federal government and New York City. But he has no incentive to cooperate with Zohran Mamdani on things like this. And the Mamdani question does look a lot different now than it did before the weekend. Is Curtis Sliwa going to drop out? The field is smaller now, but it's still too crowded. And frankly, Adams dropping out, it came a little bit too little too late. And I'm thinking about the big picture here. I've been thinking about what is the fate of New York City under Mamdani for all of the hardworking, good citizens that live there. And I think Charles Krauthammer's timeless wisdom is still true. That decline is a choice. We, as New Yorkers, know what competent governance looks like with Rudy Giuliani or even Michael Bloomberg. They cracked down on crime. They made that a priority. And they didn't raise taxes so much that the taxpayers would leave for Florida. So now the question before independent, thinking, normal Democrats is this really what you want? Are you going to let New York City go to the wolves?
So, Lee, there's some polling that we've looked at recently. Now that Adams is out, we can put some of those up on the screen, where Mamdani's lead is still double digits. It's quite significant in these polls. This is without Eric Adams, as you can see there. If you add up Cuomo plus Sliwa, then it's basically virtually tied with Mamdani. But a 2-on-1 proposition, just like a 3-on-1 proposition, benefits the guy who's on top at the moment, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And the thing that I find fascinating is that Cuomo hasn't really seemed to learn any lessons in all of this. Now, Mamdani we can talk about his policies for what they are, and they are not great. But he has, from a messaging perspective, done an amazing job. He's talking about making New York affordable. He's talking about these signature policies that are really popular with people, where he's going to bring down the cost of rent, bring down the cost of groceries, all the things that young people are concerned about in the city. He is right on message. And instead of trying to fight him on what he's going to do for New Yorkers, Cuomo's trying to say how bad he's going to be. And this is not the answer. The answer has to be on what is going to be better about New York if you're in charge of it. And no one can answer that question. Cuomo, as much as he's been running, hasn't answered that question. Sliwa hasn't answered that question. And, you know, Cuomo would be lucky if Sliwa stepped by. But he's got to learn something about his campaign right now and tell the story of what he's going to do for New York, because no one knows.
I will give you a glimpse, maybe, into what it's going to be like. Is that you saw over in Britain, the National Health Service there was a report that came out that said that relationships and marrying your first cousin was good for family bonding. Did you see that?
I did.
The NHS put that out.
Yeah, and then they had to roll. They just rolled it back. They had to roll it back and say, oh, because it was that embarrassing. Because, well, genetics say that it causes a whole host of illnesses, as we know throughout history. But this is really where we're going here. That's just my You're giving me a look.
I mean, it's just, I am processing the fact that the National Health Service in a Western country put out a pro first cousin marriage like policy. They actually did that.
Given where I'm from, there's some just still existing evidence that I can show people that maybe marrying your first cousin isn't a good idea.
Well, and don't forget that the NHS will also pay for you to kill yourself if you want to, even if you're not of sound mind. I was just in the United Kingdom, and it's pretty dystopian the way that the healthcare system there works. It's not great.
But it's coming here. We have socialized medicine in New York City. That's what the hospital system is. It is city-run and funded hospitals. And so they elect this guy, look out below.
It's very popular. I mean, the idea of socialized medicine, call it whatever you want to, people want government-run healthcare in this country. They believe that healthcare is a right, and they don't understand the implications, and that is a big, big problem.
Then you should be forced, you know what, you're going to get it, and you're going to get it hard. That you should be forced to go to a city-run hospital then.
I think the second that people learn more about Canadian healthcare and British healthcare, the enthusiasm wanes a lot. Lee, Caroline, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.